what's going on?
And not too much, just trying to enjoy life.
Yeah,
Feel that.
So, want to thank you guys both for joining me here today.
thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Hey, you're welcome. So, of course, today I'm sitting with Worth the Wait. Now, you guys were originally a five-piece group, but now consisting of two members, Dakota
Yes.
and Joseph. Now, you
Yep.
guys originally formed in 2011, releasing your
Yeah.
first EP in 2012. Now, you guys did some touring shows, including Vans Warped Tour. What year did you guys actually play the Warped Tour, and do you guys have any stories on that?
That was 2011. That was before Joe was in the band. We were teenagers at the time. Um, it was hot and not. We weren't prepared with that. Just because, I mean, we were extremely inexperienced, as I would say. We had music that sounded good, and that's what got us there. But at the same time, we were teenagers, and we did not know what to expect. We've been, we've been to Warped Tour. We watched the bands play, but playing it is a completely different experience that is extremely exhausting. And we've had things stolen off the stage. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. Motionless
I
in
have a
White.
story from that day too. Like I was just a kid. I was a fan at that point. I was in line waiting to get in with my girlfriend at the time, and here comes these two kids. To me, they're just regular scene kids, walking up to me like, hey, will you check out my band? The headphones and a phone, listening to a song. And I don't know who it was, but it was probably him and somebody else. Like, check out Work the Way. And that's how I found out about these guys. 2011 it was, you said? 2011, 2012?
Yeah.
I just found them on the internet, liked them. Eventually, here I am. So they hold a small little special place in my heart.
That's an awesome
Yeah.
experience.
Right. We promoted line, like, every time, just because, you got a lot of people going in. If you want people to see you, you want to try to make some noise.
They're just standing there, yeah.
Yeah.
Get to listen to your thing. Spread the word.
And, I mean, it's a common theme. If you've ever been to Warped Tour,
Mhm.
like, everybody's trying to get you to listen, get you to like, get you to follow right then and there. Because, I mean, it does make things easier throughout the day, but just getting up so early and, like, and getting to the stage and everything, it's just dragging instruments all the way through, the venues.
Yeah,
it's just, yeah, it's a lot. I mean, it's extremely exhausting.
I mean, especially as a young kid, you don't have any roadies. You don't have anybody to do it for you.
Right. It was, yeah. It was a lot.
They say you're a professional until you go professional.
Right.
Because then everybody just does it for you. You just play.
Man, I remember, I think my first Warped Tour was back in 2004. I think it was like a sophomore going into junior year.
That was in
And
fourth grade.
I remember back then, like, just like you said, everyone would just come up to you and be like, check out our CD, listen to this.
Yeah.
And it's definitely progressed over the years where, you just got a phone and, connect with us.
Right.
Yeah. They have these like tappy cards, or like there's all sorts of different things that people can literally just tap a card onto your phone and all your social media stuff pops up. Simple as that.
Yeah, I've
It
seen
makes things
those.
a lot easier nowadays.
Yeah,
like, I bought so
really
many
does.
CDs standing in line, like, just attending Warped Tour in like 2008, 2009, 2010.
Mhm.
And, people come through and I'm like, this is really solid. And they're like, would you like to buy a CD? $5. And I'm like looking, at my funds, which are always low, and I'm
You're
like,
out there trying to get your word out there too. So you want to
Right.
support other people,
and
get that good energy to come back around.
I've always been into that. And, I'll be like, I have $3 I can give you. And they're like, that's fine. And, my ticket home is from Ohio, and they were playing Warped Tour in 2009. No, they weren't playing. They were just there promoting. And that's how I found out about that band. I think they're on Rise now, and they have been for a long time. But they're from Columbus, and they still put out good tunes. And, like, that's how I found out about them when they were kids. It's just like, it's crazy how much influence you can have with such a small interaction,
Right.
with people.
Right.
And
I
yeah,
mean, like I just told you that story. Here I am all these years later almost.
Right.
We're doing a little bit different thing, but like at the same time, like I said, there's a special place in my heart for this thing that we've had going on.
Right on, right on. That's, remarkable how it just comes full circle there.
Right.
Right.
Now, you guys did go on a hiatus until recently here in 2020 after focusing on events in your own personal lives. You guys released Slander back in May. What was the catalyst to say that the time was right for right now?
I would probably say even just COVID. Like we had the time. We had like we had the time. It was everybody was saying like it's not the right time to do this, not the right time to do that for music because nobody's touring, nobody's out, nobody can get in front of people. But we weren't touring anyways. We weren't out doing that as it was. We've been working on music at home in front of our computers digitally and all that.
Right. And at the same time, I lost my job back in February. I was unemployed. No bad blood between me or the company or anything like that. Is because the coronavirus was happening and they understood that. And everybody at my work was actually sick for like a month or two solid. Wow. And I was actually out when they told me, hey, you can file for unemployment, but we're downsizing right now to them as much as we can because the pandemic is about to happen. And I got a text from my boss and he's just like, it's okay. And I'm like, all right. And that's what I did. And just with all the free time that we've had available, we kind of
just felt right. We kept bouncing ideas off of each other. Like over the last several years, it was back in 2014, I think it was. We put out the Arc.
Yeah,
that was 6 years ago, and like ever since then, we've bounced things here and there. But like I've had personal stuff. He's had his personal stuff with having kids and taking care of this and that. But like we've always come back like to each other with the same vision, the same idea, the same. Like, I don't know. We have the same goal.
We do. And that's why I think everything clicks so well with us. I mean,
we've had members here and there in the past come through and then leave. And like, we've hung out with people one time, like, hey, you want to be our drummer? And then they'll be scrolling on their phone the whole time. And like, we're trying to focus and like progress. We're like, okay, well, we'll see you. We'll see you in the crowd somewhere.
And like, a lot of it is just like the time. This is probably the biggest thing, is because we haven't had time like this like we have in the past.
I work all the fucking time.
He worked second shift, I worked first shift. So by the time I got off, he was going. And so we would meet up on a Saturday, to work, write, talk about ideas, goals, plans, write things down. And you can't really do a lot with that. But now, since coronavirus hit, he got his hours cut and his schedule opened up. I have been unemployed. So we've really had nothing to do but this. And we thought no better time than now to do it.
Put everything into it.
Like we plan on playing shows when they're, when we're able to, but as a two-piece, like metalcore band, just us, that's not really in the cards immediately. Mm-hmm. We don't want to play a show with no fans for one.
Right.
Like, right. We want to establish that before we go out and put ourselves out there physically. I've played shows in this band before he had joined. Then we've played shows where we've made like $11, $15, $26. I think the most we ever made at a show was like $250 guaranteed. And we sold tickets for that show. And it was our first show. And we played with like Miles to Flames, and it was really cool. But aside from that, like physically playing, touring, doing those things, there's if you can't guarantee it, there's not a lot of money in it.
Yeah.
And it's not always about money, obviously. And some people are like, oh, if it's an art, if you love it, it should never be about money. But when there's like certain things that you need that cost money to do it, it makes it extremely difficult and it hinders you.
Especially when you just want to do it. That's what you want to do with your life. You got to look at it as a business. In the world we live in today, right. You have to make money to survive.
And some people, they'll put their nose up at it. And then a lot of people will be like, no, that's some really good advice. because, you know, it's fun to play shows. It's fun to meet new people.
They're
It's
good.
fun to
It goes
get
for
fans.
anything that you do. If you're
Right.
good at something, make money off of it. Like don't do anything you're good for, anything you do good for free.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, no time seemed like better than now. And we're just going pretty much full force at it, you know, with what we do have.
Yeah, it's
Balls to
definitely
it.
understandable, and you know, like you said, just no better time when you have everything available, and just to say, let's go ahead and just go 100%. There's nothing stopping us.
Yeah.
I've always had the vision of having like a 4-piece or a 5-piece band, but it's just not in the cards right now with the whole COVID thing and just with touring. Like we've like I said, we've had people come in and out, but they don't have the same view as us. They don't have the same intentions or influences, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with having your own opinions or whatever. But when you're trying to make it a business, make it a common goal, it does get hard having 4 or 5 different minds on us on a single project.
Yeah, like if you do something on your own, which is how we kind of work, we bring ideas to each other. And I'll bring an idea to him and I'll be like, hey, what do you think this sounds like? Do you think this sounds cool? Should we work with it? And, you know, it's a lot easier to say yes or no, or have one opinion say, I think if we change this, it'll be perfect.
You have to say yes or no 4 or 5 times.
But when you bring it to 4 or 5 people and you're like, okay, what do you think of this? And one person says yes, the next person says yes, the other person says no, and the other person says hell no. You know, that makes it really difficult.
Sometimes. Yeah, people will get their feelings hurt.
You know, it's a lot easier to compromise when you're working with just 2 people. You can pretty much come to a common goal, you know, with what you both want to achieve and execute. And it's just so much easier. It's much less nerve-wracking.
Like he'll send me things, and then I'll think to myself, like, that's exactly what I would have done. Say I'll send him something. Just hit myself in the face with my screen. I'll send him something, and he'll be like, well, this is perfect, or whatever. And then he'll do something with it, send it back to me, and I'll be like, exactly, like that's what I had envisioned.
Right.
But I can't do that.
Yeah.
Whatever, maybe I don't have those resources, those tools.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So definitely sounds like you guys have learned a lot over the years, and
yeah,
you know, over the last 6 years since 2014, what have you guys learned about how the state of music has changed from where it was back then to how it is today?
I would say that music is a lot more, I mean, you can even go back.
Quick.
It does.
It moves so fast.
You can look back, like people saw MySpace as a really good tool to spread music to people, to reach more fans. You know, there are bands that made their way back in the 80s and 90s that didn't have the internet. And if they did, you know,
paper and a word of mouth.
Right.
Yeah.
And if they did, they could potentially go a lot further, or it could break their, you know, their whole, you know, continuation of the band. But with the tools that we have now, social media has changed so much since then. Like, people weren't as active then. Like, you'd look on Facebook and scroll, and somebody would have an entire post about, like, yeah, school sucks, you know, whatever. Oh, man, I don't want to go to work today. And now it's just politics the entire time, and some memes in between, and then ads every 3 posts.
Right.
And that's not how that was just even, you know, 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, then there's other social media sites that have popped in and out at the same time. And then some things that are no longer available. Like, we used to promote on Omegle, you know, it was like in chat roulette, and just go on there and just like play guitar and stuff and just play our songs and meet new people that were just like really into it. And we could get, you know, a couple hundred fans in a night. And that was, you could put your tags in there of what you wanted, and you could just literally type in the bands that you sounded like. And if you had those in common with another person, they were like super stoked to hear it. And we don't have that anymore. But the thing that has changed is bands are more online now, obviously, than they were then. That's one of those things.
Yeah.
And but in that sense, like, as I said, we don't want to play shows until we have enough fans to, you know, decently pack a venue.
Right.
Like, or, you know, hop on a bill with a bigger band than us, you know, like we played shows with like We Came as Romans, Motionless in White, you know, bands like that. And, you know, those shows were packed because of those bands, but we want to bring ours too.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that and you go to play a show, like if we played a show on our own right now, we would probably have not a lot of people, you know, like that's just the facts. And some people may disagree, and a lot of people would probably agree. And so now with promoting, it's going back to like the MySpace days is what the method I've been using. And then you have to contact the promo pages. You have to contact anybody to get press, you know, and all those people charge a fee. And it's like, that's also another different factor that goes into it, is because everything costs $1. You know, like it's $1 here, $1 there, and you can only go so high because you only have so much money. And that makes it a little difficult. But then again, if they can put your music out to those people, that's great. Spotify is a great tool because they have the playlists now that was not around 6 years ago.
Right.
And so that can really push you, make you or break you, you know, especially the Spotify curated playlists. But just, I mean, a lot of things have changed. Like people don't really play a lot of local shows anymore. The genres that are popular to the younger people have changed, and even some of the older people, like locally around here, if you go out to a show that are still happening, you wear a mask, they have everything going on. It's a lot of jam bands and like rap artists. Now, when we were teenagers, it was metal shows all day, every day. I mean, the venues that I go to today now have like EDM mainly and like,
right.
you know, stuff like that. And that wasn't really around then at all.
Yeah, it wasn't as popular.
And, you know, you could go to any like 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and it'd be metal like the whole weekend. And, you know, every friend you had was in a band and they were in another band. You know, they drummed in one band, did vocals in another, and it was just like everywhere. You'd be like, oh yeah, I play guitar in 7 bands, I drum in 2 bands, you know, and like it was crazy. But now everybody that's older now, if they didn't continue that, they're either like a tattoo artist or a graphic designer, they own a clothing company, or they stream on Twitch. I try to do all those things. You know, I'm guilty of it. And I mean, it's cool because sometimes things just don't work. And, you know, it's always good to advance yourself in it and just keep pushing. But, you know, that's just where things fall. But yeah, that's kind of the state of the scene right now.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that quite a bit with just kind of following bands that you grew up, you know, liking, or just people that you know in the industry. I think you've pretty much hit it right on the head there.
Right. Like, I mean, even if you look at popular bands that were like really big, like just, you know, 3-5 years ago, like their vocalist now streams on Twitch for 8 hours a day.
Yep.
Like, you know, it's a great way to make an income, and it's a great way to talk to your fans. It's a great way to keep pushing things, you know, when you're not creating music, or even if you are. Super great for promoting, you know, things like that.
Just to keep your business and your face in front of the people that want it.
Yeah, like Chris Roeder, he designs some insane stuff. He's the vocalist of like Miles to Flames, and he just draws on Twitch, and I just sit there and watch it. He'll just answer questions. It's just so calm. And I'm like, dude, that's so neat. Like, it's like ASMR. Right. Like, you know, and like Ronnie Radke, he streams like hours and just bullshits with people. Yeah. And like, I see people sub bomb like 100 subs at a time.
I see it, and I'm like, I want to do that.
And like, it's incredible. I'm like, man, you got some loyal fans. And like Craig Mabbitt, he streams a lot, you know, and Jason Richardson, he's doing the same thing. And like, you know, I mean, people are really getting to it. And I mean, you have to find a way.
Fucking the Browning, Johnny, he's been writing the Browning album like
on Twitch
with like having fans interact. Like,
that's dope.
What?
You know, like I think it's really cool. I think there's some really cool routes that you can take to keep pushing yourself out there. And those are new routes. Those, as I said, that's what's changed over time. And with some of these artists that you see today, they're interacting more with their fans than they ever have. You know, you can always put out a tweet or respond to an Instagram comment, But if somebody's actually talking to you on the other side of the camera and you're just answering them directly,
it's a much more meaningful interaction.
right?
Exactly. Now, you guys
yeah.
do have a brand new song dropping on Friday. This one's titled Blackwater. I've listened to this one more than a handful of times here, and I've just been itching to feature it here on our station. Now, what do you guys feel is special about this song that will resonate with everybody?
Good, you can start.
All right. I think this song is fun, and like I feel like that's been lacking a lot in this genre. Personally, I may be wrong, but I feel that I'm right. If you listen to our older music, it wasn't really, like, I don't know. It's just a little bit more upbeat, like just all around. I mean, we wanted to make something you could move to. Joe wrote the guitar part to it and sent it to me, and I was like, yes, that is exactly what I wanted.
Like, even just like for a special thing, I felt like the writing process just happened. I wasn't forcing anything. He wasn't forcing anything. The song wrote itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we literally took the guitar track and we were like, what if we made that a synth and just threw it in front of it? And then we did that, and we're like, that sounds fucking cool.
Filled it out.
And we took some bold moves with it that we wouldn't, I say, regularly do, but we just,
no, definitely not for us.
And I just, if I did a take and I didn't hear anything, that I would just change immediately, I'm like, let's leave it, and let's just see what happens. I mean, you listen to a lot of albums that come out now. Bring Me the Horizon just put out a great album, post-human survival horror, and like I listen to that and I'm like, holy shit balls, this is so fucking good, because I feel like there are moments where they just did not give a shit,
right.
Like, and just put it out there. And that's
even in an interview, Ali was saying, like, they're angry, they're pissed off, they have a voice, they have something that they want to say, and like they're saying it, and that's kind of where we're at too. Is like we have an ability, we have a talent, we have something that we have that we want to share with these people, with anybody.
And like we just really wanted to have a lot of fun with it. We wanted it to be fun to play live. We wanted it to just get people moving. Like, because right now, like how times are, like shit's depressing. I mean, you can't deny that. And
there hasn't been a lot of good things to write about. Like you said last night, it's just there is a lot of negative things that have been happening in the world.
Yeah, and like I've been struggling with anxiety and depression every day for the past 6 months, and like probably will be well beyond that, but it's been worse. And
it's a very fun song about a negative night, I guess you could say. I don't even know. I don't know the right terminology to use, but just a drunken night. A night that it just helped like get over, cope with, kind of.
Yeah, like thinking about it, like when we were writing the lyrics, we wanted to just be like just something that it was relatable. In a sense, it's lyrically writing it, it's happened, like it's not something that has not happened. We're not writing about something that we don't know about. That's two for sure. And,
it's just a real life story. Like I said, the song just kind of wrote itself. Like our own, just the emotion, just it came out and it happened with every part of it.
Like there was nothing that we struggled to create in it. Like there is nothing like.
At least that's the way it felt. Yeah, like doing it. It was long, tedious work sometimes, but at the same time, it's all enjoyable. It's all like it's just happening, and then you write a part, or he'll send me a part, and I'll be like, "Wow, this is a completely different section that you just sent me," but it's exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, I mean, we actually had to take out some of the parts because we wanted to shorten the song a little bit. Because when we wrote it, this song was almost 5 minutes long, and
it was fun. I enjoyed playing it.
Like it was just way too long, and I'm like, people only have an attention span this big. I only have an attention span that big, and
like
I always
said, Bring Me the Horizon's album just came out a couple months ago or a couple weeks ago, and I'm ready for more already.
Right, like and like people want something new like that. And like we just tried to make something that was like not let you down, other than just something to just build and build and build. And you'll hear that in the song, like literally.
You won't be disappointed.
No, and it's just a good time. Like now, like you see like a lot of bands within our wheelhouse that are like Wage War. They just put out a new single, and it's kind of got that sad vibe, like dark. Like
I haven't even listened to it yet.
Architects just put out Animals. Love Architects. They're one of my favorite bands of all time, and that song is just kind of like, yeah, okay, it's still that same sad, grim vibe. I get that. That's Architects. And, sometimes once in a while, I feel like it's okay to put out something that's not like
something fun, just let loose.
Right. It's just, yeah, I like it.
I do too. Like I said, I'm looking forward to playing that here on Friday and letting everybody hear that listens to Squatch and Fit Radio. Now, you guys also do have some awesome new merch available right now. I saw you guys have a couple new shirts and some face masks. Where can everybody find this dope new merch, and as well as pre-save the new single Blackwater?
Right now, you can find everything on our link tree, which is, if you want to spell it out, linktr.ee/WTW official. You can find that link on our Facebook, our Instagram, everywhere. But it has all of our social media, everywhere we can find our music, our merch store, and where to pre-save our new song Blackwater that comes out this Friday. So it'll automatically go into your release radar and all of that good stuff. So yeah, linktree/WTW official is what it is.
Awesome.
New merch designs are on worththewait.threadless.com. The two newest designs were the Hands of Time one and the
Mr. Smiley.
Yeah, that's right. And then the face mask and the neck gaiters are pretty new. Those just got added to the shop too. I didn't even know that those were on there.
I actually have.
You have your mask on you?
Yeah, I think I do. Let me see.
They're pretty cool. I mean, it's legit like fabric and everything.
Yeah, they're cool. This is mine.
Awesome.
Yeah, mask up. Like wear a fucking mask. I cannot stress that anymore. I've lost family members. My wife has lost family members. Wear a mask. It's not hard. Go buy one. I mean, and these are really comfortable. They don't suffocate your face. They have some movement in them, and that's what I like about them.
We don't make any money off of the face masks or neck gaiters either too. I think there's like a $1 or $2 of the fee that goes to there's a MedShare program that provides masks to needy people, and it's a charity. And so your proceeds that you buy from our masks go directly to that. We don't make any money from it.
That's awesome, guys.
But yeah. Also, are we doing a merch giveaway?
We will be doing a merch giveaway on Friday. It starts Friday, and we'll let everybody know about the details on that day.
So if you want to go ahead and if you pre-save our song, I'm pretty sure that automatically enters you into the merch giveaway. There's only a couple rules. You follow us on social media, and that's it. But when you pre-save the song, we get your email address if you allow us to have it, and if we can contact you that way, we will. But if it's linked to other socials, it'll be easy to do that as well. But yeah.
Nice. I especially like the two new shirts that you guys have. There are some dope designs.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, we've been talking about some new music here from some other artists. Do you guys have any breakout or favorite albums from this year on your list, or any bands that you heard for the first time this year that you just became like absolute huge fans of?
Yes, I have absolutely fallen in love with the band Currents. Their newest album, The Way It Ends, I think is what it's called, has been just on repeat over and over and over. And that just every song on that album is just so giant. Like the first time hearing The Flag to Wave, which is the second track, basically the intro song. The drums and the guitar and everything are just like I said, so large. And we've tried basing that sound off of this, or this song off of that sound. I kept drilling it into his head, like, we got to do this. I want to do this.
I
Like,
want it to be big.
have you
There's
listened
so
to this
much
album yet?
headroom on that album, and it's like, you know, we're doing things digitally, and I don't know if they did. Like, it's a very big sound. Like, and everything, there's just so much room that you can hear in it, to where it's not like pushed to the front, I guess you could say. Like, it's in your face, but it's not like, it's an atmosphere of sound. You know, it's not just like direct, you know, right there. Like, you know, everything's not flat against you, I would say.
I mean, I just gained inspiration from just like, even just the album cover, because the album cover, like some of the songs on the album, I believe have to do with some of their older work. It's correlated to it. And the album cover is like an expanded picture of an older album cover. So it makes sense with what they're doing. So I want to do that. I want to have like certain albums that you can listen to something and be reminded of something else that we did in the past. And there's many bands out there that do that.
Mine would be, I have two right now, and that would be Bad Omens, Finding God Before He Finds Me.
Yes.
Deluxe. It's such a solid album. I don't skip a track. You know, it's one of those.
There's so many dynamics on that.
Like,
yeah.
I like, and they even had a cover on there, and I'm like, dude, that's so dope. Like, you know, a lot of bands don't do covers really anymore unless it's like a stripped version of their own song. And I have realized that I'm pretty sure it's the third time they've done the song. Like, Bad Omens themselves have redid their song 3 times. There's an acoustic version out now, plus the live acoustic stripped version or something, plus the actual song for Limits. Like, how many?
I honestly don't know. I know the original version and the acoustic
If you're
version.
holding me to the lions. They did that. Like, yeah, anyway. Yeah, that's the song I'm thinking about. Yeah,
Really
and
is.
like they've done it, I think 3 times, and it's fine because every time they do it, it's just solid. I mean, they're just a solid band. When
But
they
doing
first,
things like that, you can appeal to more people. You can appeal to a newer crowd.
right, like their last album,
Still gets the message across.
it was really good, but I'm like, oh, I wish there was a little bit more dynamics to it.
Mhm.
Like, because I grew up with like, you know, into like post-hardcore and like things like that, and like their new album was literally like that, and it did have a lot of variety. Like, if you go from Running in Circles to Dethrone, they're like 2 completely different bands.
Yeah, he's singing high pitched and stuff, and
you know,
growling and Dethrone, and I'm like, is this on the same album? Like, is this the same person?
And they're 2 songs apart. Like, you know,
I think Dethrone was the first song of the album that I did hear, and then I heard Limits. I'm like, that is a huge contrast.
Like,
what is this? Yes.
And then the other album would be Post-Human Survival Horror. Like, I heard Dear Diary. It came out on my Spotify, and I'm like, fuck, yes. Like, I've been waiting. And, you know, because I was so stoked on, like, Parasite Eve. And, like, I listened to it, and it pays homage to, like, their old music. And, like, I thought it was so cool because if you listen to it, it's literally, like, just bullshit about music. And then they even have like the squeals come in and the pinch harmonics, like the
I feel like the whole scene was
and like it just kind of like brought me back to like Count Your Blessings with it and Suicide Season, and I was just like, dude, this is great. I mean, because in reality, nobody's heard like Ollie scream for like 3 albums, like, and apparently people forgot, like, you know. And then when Sempiternal came out a couple years ago, damn, that was like 5-6 years ago now. Like, people didn't even realize that he stopped screaming. You know, like, it's just like this transition that happened pretty abruptly. And like, for somebody that sings and screams like myself, like, I always like to hear the dynamic in it. But I love a lot of those sounds. Like, Motionless in White's. What was I thinking? I'm trying to think of the song. It's really big. It's just a huge sound to it. What's that song? Yeah.
What album is it off of?
Yes, Another Life. Yes, the song that everybody knows. Like, I'll give that song a listen, and it's just like, like, I don't know, like, it's just so big, so massive, and I just love that. And it's open. Like, it's just, you know, and you can just hear like the emotion in it. But off of Post-Human Survival Horror, One by One is a really good fucking song. Like, I love it with the auto-tune and all. Like, it's just so good. And Kingslayer, killer track all the way through. Baby Metal, fuck yeah. You know, like, it's just so solid. And apparently, I read 2 days ago that Amy Lee, her team sued Bring Me the Horizon for Nihilist Blues for using one of her melodies in the song. And on the album that they put out after that, it was called like an album to sleep to, drink to, eat to, die to, laugh to, cry to, you know. And they said on one of the tracks, he's like, you know, no music's original anymore. You know, if you listen to Nihilist Blues, apparently there's an Evanescence melody in it. And he's like, I didn't even know that listening to it because, I mean, I might have heard the song in passing. I don't recall ever putting it on my own. And, you know, some of those things come into your head and it does end up happening. But when her team went to sue Bring Me the Horizon, they also contacted them back saying, but she would like to do a song with you.
Right.
And that's what they did on the new album. It's the end song. And like, it's such a great way to end an album, but it leaves me wanting more. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you know, it literally ends with a scream at the end. And I'm just like, you know,
come on.
Yeah. Right. I remember seeing that, and it wasn't so much kind of like a thing out of spite. It was just more like, you know, this is kind of how the industry works here. This is what we got to do. And, you know, like I said, like out of it, they work together.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, I love it because I was a fan of Evanescence as a kid. I think a lot of people were.
I mean, I had the album, everybody knows.
You know, like Amy Lee, oh my God, she's so hot. You know, like obviously she was older than me. And
she still is.
Well, yeah, you know, like Evanescence, she writes really good songs. And like her voice is like really good.
Yeah, whether you like Evanescence or not, Amy Lee's voice is incredibly strong.
Right, you can't deny that.
No. Now, what do you guys have planned closing out 2020? You know, outside of we got that new release on Friday, and also kind of looking forward to 2021. Any talks of shows later in the year for next year, or possibly maybe an EP or a full album that we can expect?
You look at me.
I'm looking at you.
As of right now, there is nothing on our books. Being with the whole COVID thing, we're in Ohio, so like we have a curfew of 10 o'clock. We can't. As soon as we know something, you guys will know something.
Right.
Gotcha.
And like we have ideas. You know, we talk about things, and we discuss things, everything, though, you know, you can't just spring it up and be like, let's do it. I mean, I guess you can't say that, but it's a lot easier and everything makes a lot more sense when it's just planned out and everything's just like written down. You have a date, a deadline, and you give it to yourself because we're just ourselves. We don't have a team behind us pushing us or like giving us anything to work with. Mm-hmm. You know, we do everything ourselves. We produce ourselves. We engineer ourselves. You know, if we want photos, you know, we go to people that we know. You know, we make our art ourselves. We, you know, do all of our own designs. We distribute our own music. You know, we get our own merch out. Well, I won't say that. We have we outsource our merch, and threadless.com, they deal with the shipping, the printing, all of that. We don't have anything to do with that unless you want something custom or like an exclusive. Then we would work with that and then have it sent to you. But other than that, they deal with the merch. But aside from that, we deal with like, you know, all the marketing. Right now we're working with a PR group, you know, on a very, very, very small budget. And it's only going to last for another, you know, 5-10 days. And, but other than that, it's just like going and like contacting everybody that we can ourselves, you know. And I'm like, it seems unprofessional to some sources, because I'm like, hi, this is my band. I would like you to review my music. And then it's like, you don't have like a manager doing that for you, or like a group or a team, an assistant, you know, and things like that. But I mean, it's really cool to me to do it like that.
Yeah.
Just to show that like we're doing this on our own. Like we have nothing at all helping us. And like with me being unemployed, you know, and things like that, our budget is so small. And the fact that we can push things, I mean, we got, you know, we're talking to you guys right now, you know, and I'm so thankful and grateful for that. And,
Oh yeah, this is fucking awesome.
you know,
I've
You're
never
welcome.
done anything like this with music. This is the most I've done, the most I've tried, the most I've pushed, the most, I guess, money I've made, whatever. But it's happening.
you know, and like we have 108,000 streams. We're up 2,000 from an interview I did today on our last single Slander.
It's just crazy to watch it grow.
And like, you know, that's the biggest it's any of our music has been. Like I look at like singles or an EP we put out in 2011 or 2012, and those songs are still at like 6,000 plays, you know? And like the fact that it's just like now, and like what we're putting out now is just so much higher than that. It's just insane to me. And I love, you know, I'm so thankful. I love it. I'm thankful for every bit of it. And, but yeah, for things to end out the year, we're going to push this song as hard as we can. And, you know, we're probably going to be going live on Twitch a lot, and just keep like promoting, getting the word out. You know, it's always cool to bring in new people. A lot of people are looking for new music.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's just our main goal. Now, shows for next year, I think late next year, when everything's finally like clearing up, hopefully, if we're mentally and physically able at the time, we definitely want to. There's no doubt about that. Like, we want to get on stage as soon as possible.
I want to play.
You know, and that's what breaks down to wear a fucking mask. Like,
Right.
you know, if we all just did that, I mean, if we're just paid to stay home for like 2 months, boom, done. Like, but no, it can't have that. You know, we want to hit the stage as soon as possible.
Mhm.
We want to play our music, you know, to people. I mean, there's live stream events that we can do, things like that. But
There's
it's
so
not.
many live stream events that have been happening that are great. There's really great bands and they're great events, but I can't. It's not the same because you'll watch it on your phone, you'll watch it on your computer, whatever you may be getting your stream from. But you don't feel the bass or the kicks in your chest. You don't like it's just not the same experience. It's great that they're doing it
Mhm.
and they're being able to get their music and get their abilities, their talents in front of people. But it really just it's not the same.
Yeah, I agree completely. Because like when you're on stage, you can literally look somebody in the face, you know, and
Scream at them.
You're right. You know, if somebody knows your songs and you can see them mouthing the words, you can go to the end of the stage and hand the microphone to them. You can't do that on your phone. You know, when you're watching it from your phone, it's like watching somebody else record it and upload it to YouTube or Facebook, and then you're like, wow, that was cool. You know, like it's not the same.
You're not a part of it.
It's still a great solution. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying like you're saying like you're not a part of it. Like you're not in the middle of it where you know, it's a 360-degree experience.
Yeah. You know, there's people pushing you around, and you know, it's just there's a lot of fun to it, and you know, people want to be inside right now, and you should be. And like I guess it's definitely a valid option, but at the same time, it could be a lot better, you know, like, yeah.
Definitely. Now, you guys can obviously see that Squatch is real here.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever had your own Squatch sightings or experiences with the unexplained?
Oh boy.
I've had so many, but it wasn't Squatch sightings per se. So I grew up, you know, people, I try to tell people about these stories, you know, at school. I'm like, yeah, you know, my house is haunted, you know, and stuff like that. They're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, there's like ghosts and, you know, things that happen. They just happen. And, you know, I grew up in like a religious home, I guess I could say. My grandmother was really religious. So my mother was, and she, you know, pushed that on me a lot as a child. And, you know, I don't know if it's a part of, you know, just believing in imaginary things. I guess you could say it's like believing in things that you can't see, believing in the paranormal. And if you're taught to do that when you're like 2 years old, you know, believe in the things that aren't there. Not saying it's bad or, you know, talking ill of it. I personally don't anymore, but like I saw so many things growing up as a child, you know, in my house. As a kid, I saw things walk in my room, open my door. So many things like that. And I would try to wake my brother up. I couldn't speak. It was almost like sleep paralysis.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, there'd be this being in my room, and that look resembled what you would call, you know, an extraterrestrial type thing. It's crazy. And it didn't happen one time. It wasn't like, you know, a one-time thing. Like I would have like other things. Sometimes I'd be like sleeping, and you know, when you have those dreams and you feel like you're falling, you wake up in the floor, you know, and you're trying to wake up and wake up and wake up, and you can open your eyes, and it's just you're not where you were, and then you're finally like awake and on the floor. It all sounds so crazy, and like I don't even tell a lot of people about it. My wife moved in to the same house that I grew up in with me a couple years after we became adults, and my mother moved in with my dad. Yeah. And she witnessed it firsthand, and she'd never seen anything like it in this house, the same house that I grew up in. And and
that's
that was
where we wrote the arc. I spent a bit of time there too. It was definitely weary.
Like there would be times my parents have seen things happen, you know, people come in and out of the house. You would hear people walking around all the time. We had pictures when I was a kid. I was getting ready for school. My uncle was visiting from Georgia. You know, we live in Ohio. And we took a picture with them before we went. And in the background of this photo was this group of people like standing against the wall. You can see perfect outlines, shoulders, heads. There's even a hatchet laying against the wall. Like it was like otherworldly. And I remember when my mother got the film developed, it wasn't even for like 2 years later when this happened. And I was about 7, 8 years old at the time. And we looked at it and she was like, oh my God. We ended up having the house blessed and all this stuff because we ended up seeing a lot more, you know, and it was just like crazy shit. And like people can manifest a lot of things. And I believe that is like one of like the most real things, that like negative energy can fester so bad that it can manifest things that are physical. Like energy cannot be destroyed. I'm not a physicist, so you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know this. It's infinite, you know, and things can happen, you know, like I'm not going to say that nothing is impossible, but I've seen things fly off of shelves. My bathroom door just opened and slammed closed. I was up late, you know, taking a shit, you know, while we were working on music, and I just hear somebody banging on the bathroom door, and I'm like, yeah, I'll be out in a minute. I come out, I'm like, yo, I'm out. And they're like, okay, that's cool. You know, and nobody did it. And like, it's just crazy. You know, there's been people walking around in my yard that just weren't there. And it's not that like I was tripping or anything. It's just, you know, they just weren't there. They walk away. That was it. Wow. It's just wild things. And it's kind of been like a common theme. I think my grandma had some sort of medium, you know, abilities to see things, deal with things, you know, things like that. And I think maybe that kind of came from her mother, and it just kind of worked its way down. And I think, you know, like, because I believe some people do have those abilities, you know, to communicate with something that's on a different plane than you. Like, you know, I've seen a lot of crazy things, and I felt a lot of crazy things. And for some reason, when I got older, though, it kind of died down. Like, you know, I haven't seen anything weird like that lately. But as a kid, it was so bad. Like, you know, and I wasn't the only one. My dad and me would both hear or see things. He'd be like, did you see that? And it's like, yeah. And then, you know, we're looking and then gone, you know, and maybe it was the house, you know, I don't know. But I have so many stories. Do you have any?
No, you're apparently the paranormal one. The only story that I really have, I was living, the last house that I was living in, I was living there with 2 other people. At this time, there was another person living there.
The soap story?
Yes, yeah, okay, yeah. You already know what I'm going to say, dude.
I remember the soap story.
It's so weird. It's not even like that big of a deal, but like, what was it? It was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Me and these people, we had some friends that were living out in Vegas. Hi, Kim. Hi, Brad. We'd stay with them. We went out there 2 or 3 times in 2018. And every time that we would come back, there'd be a bar of soap in our shower that wasn't ours. wasn't mine. Like we had a meeting in the bathroom. When this one time when we came back, like, is this bar soap yours? Nope, none of ours. Nothing ever came of it. I don't know if somebody had a key to our house that we were renting,
They just love to
or
leave the
if
soap right in the shower.
they never took their soap with them. Yes,
It's like, you know what? We're only going to show up when we know you're out of town, and we're
I
going to
still
take a
wonder-
shower while
yeah.
we're in your house with a bar of soap, not even body wash.
you're right.
Like, who uses bar soap?
Right,
Like,
in 2018 at the time.
you know, like, I haven't used a bar soap.
Still to this,
like,
this day,
that's
it
just
bugs my
gross.
mind. Yeah.
Like, you know, like, no offense to the bar soap users, but like, just get some body wash. It's like the same thing, but it's a liquid.
And it was like it was an old bar soap too. It was like an old Dole. Was it Dole or Dial?
Dove.
Dove.
Dial. There's Dove and
Dial.
Dial.
I think it was an old, like, yellow old bar soap. You
Dial.
could find in like an old motel or something.
It's so strange.
Yeah, I still wonder about it to this day. I still talk to the people I used to live with about it, and we're like,
Ask
no
when the soap
idea.
pops back up, tell me it's on the weekend.
I should go back to that house and be like, is this here? Are you having this problem?
But yeah.
We've got a soap problem.
Yeah.
Other than that, this is my first Sasquatch encounter.
Right.
Which, I mean, I love the video and the what you
Yeah.
got going here. The green is awesome.
Thank you.
Where'd you
Appreciate
get
it.
that? Oh, that's right. It's your face.
Yeah, this is how I was born.
Right, right. Oh my God, dude, you should do like beef squatch. Do you watch Bob's Burgers?
Yes.
Oh my God, with Jeannie's the beef squatch.
Right.
You got to get a burger suit, man. Just put it on and hold out the patties. You can have your own cooking show where you outshine your father. You know,
No, this is really sick. I was obviously expecting a person, but this is
it's a
still a
squatch.
person. No, yeah, this is
The
better than a
Squatch,
person. This
man.
is so much better than a person.
Yeah, you don't get this nowhere else.
No, exactly. Like, this is
No.
unique.
No.
Only at Squats in the Pit do you ever see Squatch in real life.
Right, right. I mean, there's I watched some of the Wendigo. Have you been hip to that?
The Wendigo?
Yeah.
No, I'm not sure about that.
I'm sitting over here in the same boat, man. I don't know what
No,
the hell he's
I
talking
watch sometimes like, you know, I'm attracted to like paranormal things because like I've seen things.
Yeah.
And there are these people that have been like pretty much like hunting a Sasquatch. But it got really weird when a lot of people started going missing in this one certain area, and they would come back sometimes years later, and like it's just like children. And like it would be like something that would happen out of thin air, and there's some people that live to tell about it. If you got like Hulu, you could check it out, or just Google it. Like, and people are like, they've been like researching this for years because like one of their family members went missing or something, and there was like no sign of them. They had search teams look for them, and there's just these guys that camp out in the woods and just kind of like wait for things to happen, and it's just like crazy. It's nothing like found footage or like, you know, a mockumentary. Like this is like real. It's really cool. Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of, like, I remember reading about a forest over in like Russia or somewhere over there where it's got like this perfect circle in the middle of it, and like people
Yeah.
have noticed like a bunch of like crazy events going on over there.
Right. No, Russia's weird, man. Like, you know, I used to be really big into conspiracy theories and things like that, but it's gone off the rails the past couple of years. Like, people just start talking now. There's no facts behind any of it.
Yeah, you don't have
Right. You know, back in like, I was a fan of no longer Alex Jones, like as a teenager. And I'm like, yeah, 9/11, inside job, the Pentagon. I can clearly tell what happened, where it didn't. You're not the only guy talking about it. You know, like there are documentaries here and there. Why are the frames cut from the actual thing? Why were there no cameras working? You know, that's really strange for the most secured building in the world. But like, you know, things like that. And that kind of got me into like, you know, also seeing like extraterrestrial type stuff like as a younger person. And like, you know, I was just kind of like into all of it. I feel like you can't be into one thing and not the other. You know, it's like, just come on. But I mean, now I guess you could, because, you know, it's just crazy. People think like Hillary Clinton's drinking children's blood. Like,
Right.
whatever. That's so wild. And, but like, it's just so bizarre. And like with that, I would like do like a lot of like extraterrestrial like research and things like that. And with Russia, they like had this, there's a video, you can find it, where like they open up like a black hole and you can watch it swallow clouds. And like,
wow.
I mean, like it was from what I know, and every bit of what I could pull apart was real. But there's a lot of things on the internet you can't find anymore. And I'm sure there's a reason for that. You know, it's just crazy. And there's just a lot of weird stuff that goes on because they're like an isolated country, you know, like we have sanctions on them, sure, but you know, still there's like so much stuff that goes on that like nobody knows about over like in the US or Canada per se. You know, it's just weird. Like it's like North Korea, you know, if you look at North Korea on the map at night, there's nothing there. Like, you know, you can see everything lit up in South Korea, you know, all the way through Asia, and North Korea is just like a black spot, you know, like it's just strange.
Yeah, there's definitely so many just unexplained, you know, things that have happened and are real that, you know, they do keep kind of, you know, close tabs on. I remember like there's like a lake over in Russia. I don't know, like, anyway, it's like Lake Boswick or something like that.
Yeah.
And like there's been some crazy things about, because me and my buddy would sometimes watch stuff about like Admiral Byrd out in Antarctica with like the Russian, or not the Russians, but the Germans after World War II.
Yeah, that stuff's crazy, man. Like everything to do with the Nazis was like insane. Like it's just so it's weird. Like it's like I don't know. Like it's hard to explain, and then some people are like, no, it was just one crazy guy that did too many drugs and thought we should commit genocide on a whole people. And then I'm like, I don't know, because there were a lot of weird people doing a lot of weird shit and like unexplainable shit. And then we're like, why does everybody in Argentina speak German? I don't know. You know? I remember when I remember when Anonymous hacked the FBI's website and they just put all like the information that about Hitler, like the flight log, like and everything from like the plane records, his photographs, like landing in Argentina, and like all this crazy shit, like straight up unredacted, like on the FBI.gov website, and it was there for like 3 days, and like that was like 2-3 years ago. And I'm like, you know, just shit like that, and like people don't even think about it. And I'm like, dude, he could still be alive today. I mean, there's like 7 different TV shows on right now about finding him. The thing that bothers me the most is why they haven't. Like, and then I'm like, maybe it's all just fake. And they always come so close, you know, with all these nail biters moments, and like, I'm just like, I watched all this for nothing. Like, but they do find and like reveal a lot of crazy stuff. And, you know, it's like the Knights Templar, you know, and the things like that. And like, there's just swastikas under buildings that are just like, it's just like crazy stuff, you know, like. Insane.
Some of the things just aren't coincidences. There's reasons.
Yeah, like, and I'm going off the deep end. I'm ranting, and I apologize.
And
like,
no apologize. But you know, we are just about out of time here for today. Here with Squatch in the Pit. Of course, sitting here with Worth the Wait, we've got Dakota Rose and Joseph Kovacs. Now, if you guys haven't already, go over and pre-save Blackwater. That does drop on Friday.
Yep, Friday at midnight.
Hit up their link tree. That was link tree, and it was like /WTW.
Yep,
official.
Linktree, linktr.ee/WTW official.
Awesome.
That's it.
Now, you guys, make sure you go grab some of those new shirts, some of those new face shields, and make sure, as Dakota said, wear those face shields so that we can get back to normal as soon as possible.
Right.
And they go to a good cause too. Help some people out. Everybody's in need of help right now, no matter what situation you're in. Just the world's sick.
Like, in more than one way.
Yeah.
Yes.
But again, want to thank you both here for sitting with us here. Again, this was worth the wait.
Thank you so much for having us.
You guys are more than welcome. Check out their new one on Friday, Blackwater. Pre-save that shit.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys, and Squatch out.